Europe's largest airline group, Ryanair, earnings out this morning. Join us now to talk the company's results, fuel costs, Boeing, and more as Ryanair Group CEO Michael O'Leary, the Dublin-based budget airline group, is Boeing's biggest customer outside of the U.S. Good morning.
Good morning, Joe. I don't feel qualified to fill Becky's seat here, but I'll do my best.
You do, just do your best.
Considerably older and a lot less attractive.
Certainly not as well. Actually, we can't say things like that anymore. You look great. You look great. I find you very attractive. How bad is this likely to get in terms of jet fuel?
I don't think it's bad at all. I mean, we've just announced record full-year results. So we carried 208 million passengers. We were declared a profit at 2.26 billion. Oil prices have spiked hugely, but we're very well hedged. We're 80% hedged out to March 27 at $67 a barrel. The spot price today on jet is about $150 a barrel. So we're in great shape.
Let's have a good CEO. Whose idea was that? The CEO or the CFO?
Probably.
You've been hedging all along.
Yeah, we hedge all along, generally speaking. It's the advantage of having a strong balance sheet. So we're in pretty good shape. Our competitors are in real trouble. Most of them are only hedged till the end of September. The risk in Europe, though, is they were worried in the last couple of months there'd be supply disruptions. So they get some of their oil from the Middle East. Most of that has switched to supplies coming from the Americas, Norway, West Africa. So the risk of fuel disruption has gone away. But much higher oil prices are going to be a real challenge through the remainder of this summer in Europe. But thankfully, Ryanair, because of our hedging, we should be in pretty good shape.
Is your sense that the other airlines that you worry about could get in trouble, that they do they either go bankrupt, or are you worried that they just start canceling flights left and right because it's too expensive to even be in the air, or what?
Andrew, well, they're already cancelling flights.
Right.
We've seen a lot of competitors take 5-6% of capacity out in April, May and June. I mean, I think if oil prices remain up at these levels, if the Strait of Hormuz remains closed until, say, September, October, there's going to be airline bankruptcies in Europe like you had Spirit over here in the States. We have airlines over there that are in the same kind of poor shape. They have low fares but high costs and therefore can't make money. I mean, I don't think anybody really believes this is going to continue on to the end of the summer. You have Memorial Day coming up here at the end of May. The midterms are kicking off. And, I think the administration is going to have to declare a win and get the hell out of there.
Policy mistakes just across the European Union with energy. I mentioned that to you. Is it glaring to you at this point? Is it Germany?
No, it's pan-European, Joe. I mean, we have spent the last 20 years taxing the hell out of European air travel. We've an environmental tax about €7 a ticket now only on intra-European flights.
For carbon dioxide?
Oh, yeah, we're saving the planet and the hedgehogs and whatever else it was. But we exempt all the long-haul flights. So the Americans, the Chinese, the Gulf carriers are all exempt. We're just taxing the hell out of the poor, dumb Europeans going on their 2 weeks holidays to Spain, Portugal, Italy and Greece. The airlines across Europe are calling for an abolition of that ETS. It is the dumbest taxation known in humankind. Ursula von der Leyen, I call her useless. She's the president of the European Commission.
Useless von der Leyen.
Useless von der Leyen. She's been talking about making Europe more competitive for about the last 2 years. Of course, she hasn't had an idea, no initiative. She should start by abolishing environmental taxes on air travel. The Swedes now get it. The home of Greta Thunberg flight shaming, they've abolished their aviation tax. And we're growing very strongly in Sweden. Europe needs to do likewise.
Do Europeans ever look at Germany and wonder about the leadership there with what's happening with?
I don't think much is the leadership. I mean, it's just the whole.
Should they be helping with Iran or with the Strait?
Now I'm into political issues. Look, we all want an early solution to the Strait. It would have helped, I think, if the administration here had consulted more with the Europeans before they went in.
Right.
But it is in everybody's interest to get the Straits of Hormuz reopened. Europe's jet fuel doesn't come from the Middle East, so if in that sense. But high oil prices is not in the U.S. is not in the good for the U.S. economy. It's not good for the European economy. We need to get this thing fixed. I mean, I disagree with Trump on tariffs. I fundamentally disagree with Trump on a few things. But one thing he's right on is Europe has been weak on defence spending. NATO needs to significantly up its game on defence spending. The only way Europe can fund that is by getting to a much more competitive economy. And taxing things like low-fare air travel is not the way you get to a competitive.
Yeah,
you're just taxing ourselves.
So you're hedged, but the country of Europe is not hedged on.
But
could there be some recessions in some of the countries that are less?
Again, as you know, it depends on how long this goes on. I mean, if oil stays at $150 a barrel, for through to September, through to the end of this calendar year, we're all going into recession. The U.S., Europe, everybody. I would be more optimistic. I think it will, There will be an end brought to the Straits will reopen. Oil prices will trend back downwards again, I think, by the time we get to the end of the summer. But what the hell do I know? I'm only some dumb schmuck working for an airline.
And you didn't see any results, any pressure yet from demand destruction from this?
Funny enough, because we're coming into the peak travel season in Europe.
So you'll see.
We're seeing there's a little bit of nervousness out there into June, July, and August. We're having to price a little bit down to keep bookings going, but close in is very strong.
Do you see a distinction? So one of the things that's fascinating to watch in the U.S. is that these U.S. airlines are killing it in the front of the plane.
Yep.
Killing. Back of the plane is a more complicated story.
Yep.
Is that the same story in Europe, or is that a completely different story?
I mean, it is a similar story. I mean, one of the fundamental difference between Europe and the US is we have much lower cost carriers.
Across the board.
Across the board. Like, we wipe the floor with Southwest over here. I mean, our cost per seat is about $40. Southwest cost per seat is about $120. So we're much lower cost.
Is that a labor story? What is that?
It's an efficiency, bigger aircraft gauge type. We don't distribute through travel agents. We're just much more ruthless about being lower cost. But there is a similar story with the legacy carriers in Europe. Because the Gulf guys are all grounded, the legacy guys are taking all the connecting traffic going to Asia, going to the US. I mean, the Gulf carriers are in real trouble. I mean, essentially, they're grounded. The Lufthansas, the BAs, the Air Frances are taking all that big long-haul connecting, and that is pricing up. So they're doing very well on the long-haul stuff. But on the short-haul piece, Ryanair is wiping the floor with everybody because we have such a cost advantage. We're so well hedged. We will pay down the last of our bond. I have a 1.2 billion bond we pay down next week. I'm completely debt-free now with a fleet of 650 aircraft. So we're still growing very strongly in Europe, but there's lots of flaky, low fare but not so low cost carriers like the Spirits. There's a few of those in Europe.
Can you just speak to this? And it's really because we have a U.S. audience that's going to understand this. Do you think that in Europe there's so much more competition than there is in the U.S.? Do you believe? I mean, we were just having a big debate a couple years ago whether Spirit, before it went bankrupt, should have been acquired by JetBlue. Wasn't allowed to happen.
Yeah.
But there's all sorts of debates even today about whether American, for example, should merge with United. I don't think that's in the offing. But how do you see competition from your vantage point in Europe, where there seems to be a lot of it, compared to here?
There's not that much anymore in Europe, Andrew. I mean, Europe is inexorably migrating towards four large carriers. You have over here United, Delta,
American,
and then you have Southwest, the big low-cost carrier. Europe is going the same way. So you'll have the three big legacy carriers, the BA family, the Air France KLM, and Lufthansa. And then Ryanair is going to be the kind of big, dominant, low-cost carrier. And the other guys who are stuck in the middle, the EasyJets, the Wizzes, the Baltic Airs, are either going to get taken out or, which I think, well, there'll be M&A or they'll fail.
Okay.
And that's inevitable. So Europe, it runs about 10 years behind the US. The US had were the first to deregulate. One of the few economic policies that Carter was successful with. Europe copied that US success, but we're coming to the end of that now, and therefore we're going to fundamentally be the only low-cost carrier in Europe. But the good news is we've ordered 300 aircraft from Boeing, the MAX 10s, which we hope to take first delivery of in the spring of 27. That gives us growth to go from 200 million to 300 million passengers a year over the next 8 years by keeping airfares low in Europe. And the great advantage in Europe is the rest of them are dumb and high fare. So all we got to be is not so dumb and much lower price, and we'll win.